Well, it's getting closer to football season, my friend.
About freaking time.
Football.
About time.
College football. I know you can't see all the logos behind us, but there they are. Here's our conferences. We're going to try to work on the camera, work on that here in a little while, get those a little bit more focused in for you. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a series moving up to kickoff where we're going to do each conference one at a time, kind of talk a little bit about them, what we can anyway.
Yep.
So we're going to start right now. So come on in and let's talk about some football.
College football. Come on.
Welcome back to the Midnight Riders podcast. I am Johnny.
Nah, I'm Chuck.
Yeah, I got a Cubs shirt on. It's still baseball season. Kind of. All-Star breaks over.
Live and die.
I'll have to worry. We'll talk baseball later.
Live
But
and
anyway, it's football time. Well, it's getting there.
It's getting there.
Still
next
hot.
month. End of next month.
It's not as hot, but it's still hot.
Still hot.
Still hot. But we're going to start our series on knocking each conference down as we get out, head down to kick off. We're going to talk a little bit about each conference. We're going to start with the independents, and
Well, that'll be quick.
there's three of them, and
Yeah,
I still don't know why we have independents.
Because of Notre Dame.
Well, I mean,
That's the only reason you got them. I mean,
well,
you,
but
you,
I mean, but what? We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. We'll get to that, but right now, let's just. I mean, there's only three independents out there.
Yep.
Let's not give me one of them.
No.
Who do you?
Well, let's just. Okay. Well, I'm not starting with them. Let's start with UMass.
University?
Because it'll be quick.
I don't know anything about them.
I get why they're there.
I
I
mean-
get why they're the independent. I
Yeah.
understand that. They're not any good. It's
Well, it's one of those. It's one of the East Coast teams. They're a basketball school. Yada yada yada.
Yep.
Blah blah blah. They're still D1 football. My deal is, in the world of building conferences, and we're getting ready to do the Conference USA first on, after we do the independents here. But
right.
you know, a conference like USA or a conference like the MAC, if you can see up here behind us, you know, they've only got 12 teams. I mean, why not just grab these guys? Why don't they want to?
No,
be
yeah,
in
it's
a
good.
conference?
It's got to. I don't understand why UConn's not. Why they're not in.
I know.
Why they don't
I know.
move into.
Well, who else you got in there?
Twin. You got UConn. You got UMass, UConn,
And of
and
course,
then you got.
kind of rude, but
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, you got Notre Dame in there who does this thing on their own. I mean, they've always been that way. And I read something today that said that all of a sudden the ACC is wanting to get rid. They're wanting to fold. Everybody wants to leave. You got Florida State. You got Clemson. You've got there were two more. Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Florida State, Clemson, Notre Dame, and one more. I forget who the fourth one was. That are saying we're just going to, ACC won't give us more money. They won't go out and get this big ass TV contract. We're just going to leave. And now those four teams they're talking to the Big 12.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. And why not? I mean, if you're going to have to compete with the SEC and the Big Ten and what they're doing, you're going to have to do something like that
Right.
just to be able to compete.
well, look.
That's the only way you're going to be able to.
I mean, you got UConn, you got UMass. These two teams here, they're nothing. They're going to sit there. They're going to play a schedule, an entirely non-conference schedule. They don't have
Exactly.
a conference, so they're going to be playing a non-conference schedule.
Mhm.
They're going to be playing teams. They're going to get the hell beat out of them all year.
Right.
Why wouldn't you move into one of these lower end conferences? I mean the MAC, the Conference USA. I mean even the American Athletic. I mean
Something. But that's my problem with Notre Dame. And I don't know all the. I'm sure there's legal money.
I'm sure
shit
there
that
is.
I don't.
Well, it's
don't and will never.
Well, they
understand.
got that. They still got that big ass NBC
They
contract.
still got the NBC
I mean,
contract.
It's all about money.
But
we
what I
know,
don't
we
understand,
know
they
it's
did it
all
on the
about money.
COVID year. They forced them to the hook with the conference just for that year.
Right.
I don't understand why we can't force their hand in some way, shape, or form.
Well, I mean they're already
To join
playing
the
basketball
Yes.
in the ACC.
Right.
Now the football thing, of course, is a conference is a contract, a
Contract.
TV contract thing. We all know this.
Right.
where it's going to cost them with this new playoff system. It's going to cost them.
Yes.
You know, they're never going to get a bye. You know, because only your top 4 conference champions will get a first round bye. You got to win a conference to get the first round bye. And now that's, of course, that's in the first couple of years the only way the Big 12 and the ACC are going to get in there, because you know the SEC and Big 10 are going to just be flooded, and we'll get to that later. Within that in the playoff, but those two, you know, so Notre Dame is going to have to finish in the top 12 every year, or they're not even going to get a chance in the playoffs. So why wouldn't you go join a conference to give you at least that opportunity to get a first round bye, to get in there, the automatic bid, even if you're right, you know, like if just pick a team, let's just say, let's just say Clemson. Let's just say Clemson wins the ACC, but they're ranked 14th. Okay, they're still going to get in.
Correct.
Because they won the conference championship, and they're going to get whoever that is, they get a first round bye, no matter where they're ranked. As long as they win the championship game, they're there. Right. Now it's going to be rare that somebody's ranked that low that's going to win. There's no division,
but it's a possibility, especially these first couple of years out.
I think Notre Dame next year's in a conference.
Either that, or I hate to say it, I think they may change the rules up again to suit.
Highly possible.
You know.
Well, I don't think they will.
But with only 3 independents left, you're going to have to pull the trigger at some point in time.
Well, I mean,
you're going to have to.
I mean, I don't know.
And I wonder if it's going to. I know the schedules are set way out in advance. I just wonder if this new format's going to get Notre Dame to adjust a little bit of their scheduling and pull back on some of the real tough teams.
Well, they won't because of the TV deal. The TV deal, the more money, the more people that view, the bigger deal they get, the more money they get. I mean, they're still going to play USC. They're probably still going to try to play Michigan. They're probably still going to try to play. Well, they're still got 4 or 5 ACC games they have to play because that's part of the basketball deal.
Right. That
they have to play so many ACC teams.
Do you got their schedule for this year?
I can call it up here if you can't drag it up.
I was just curious. I had it pulled up the other day, and they've got who do they got? They have got Texas A&M. Northern Illinois.
Where's A&M at?
At A&M.
See, that's a possible loss.
Right off the bat. Northern Illinois.
Win.
Purdue. At Purdue.
See, that's a possible loss. Depending on how. I mean, see, no, you never know what Notre Dame team's going to show up. Go ahead. What is
Miami of Ohio.
That's a win.
Louisville.
Win.
Stanford. That's a win.
If I could find 11
Georgia.
guys to beat Stanford.
Georgia Tech. That's a win. Navy. That's a win. Florida State. Possible loss there. Virginia, Army, and then USC. So you're looking at maybe 2, maybe 3 losses.
I mean, 3 losses, they're out. They're done.
Right.
They're done. I mean, they still may, the voters still may keep them in the top 12 just so they can get that bid, just for TV, just for the the ratings. Which is this whole playoff deal. This first season is going to tell me a lot about is this just a big money grab? Do they really give a shit about who's in it? Do they really care, or is it just about getting the highest team, the best viewership teams in the top?
Right.
Because if you look at the Big Ten, let's just throw a Big Ten out there for a second. This is another Notre Dame situation. You got a team like Penn State, who, and I'm going to use the word never, which is not right, but still, they never beat Michigan, they never beat Ohio State, they're never in the conference championship game, yet they always end up ranked in the top 10 simply because they're Penn State. They can beat Rutgers and Indiana and Illinois and Minnesota and all these teams, and they get their ass kicked by Ohio State. They get busted by Michigan, but they say that's a good loss.
They don't come down,
so they don't fall far. So they'll never have to play a title game. And they'll always get in the playoff.
Right. Unless they tank with a 3, 4, 5 loss season.
Same thing with Notre Dame. They'll never
and they'll
never have to lose a championship game, but the voters on the mysterious poll will always put them in the top 12
if they're anywhere close.
Right.
Yeah.
So
if they're anywhere close,
we'll see.
Will.
I may be just way out there because of my attitude about the whole damn thing, but anyway, that's our independence. I mean,
UMass is horrible. UConn finished 3-9 last year. They're horrible. I mean, they had a few good years back, but they're non-existent. They're
two teams here that are there for non-conference games for everybody else to throw one on their schedule.
Yeah.
and they'll get smashed. They'll win a couple of games in there.
No, yeah,
somewhere,
they'll
but-
each win 2 or 3 because they play each other this year. UConn
Exactly.
and UMass play each other.
Of course. So I don't know. They're going to have to hit a conference pretty soon. The independents are going to be gone. I'd say within 2 years. I just don't see them hanging around.
No, because UConn's got Maryland, then they play Merrimack, Duke, Florida Atlantic, Buffalo, Temple, Wake Forest, Rice, Georgia State, Syracuse, UMass. So
Why?
it's going to be money.
But see, I mean, several years ago when the Big 12 was talking about expanding, they were wanting UConn for the basketball.
Yeah.
I said, hey, bring your football team over
Right.
too. They already got West Virginia in the Big 12. Why not bring another East Coast team?
Right.
I mean, hell, we're all over the map now with
I was gonna say,
Utah and West Virginia,
Now
and
you're going-
Arizona and
Yeah, now
Iowa State. I mean, Jesus.
Now you're going to go coast to coast, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the Northwestern schools pop into there.
Yeah.
By the time it's all said and
Sure,
done.
sure. Well,
Well, you already got Colorado,
whatever,
so
Big 12, but
Yep.
Well, we're going to move to the Conference USA. Conference USA used to be one of the strongest of the mid majors, or the Power Five, or whatever, or what do they call them now?
well, not anymore.
The others, or whatever they are.
This is Liberty and everybody else.
The group
right now.
of 5. So let's start with what some of the most folks are picking as the 10th place team in the conference, and that's the new team, the only new team to join Division I, Kennesaw State. I love their logo. If you haven't seen that logo,
Yeah,
it's badass
that's a cool logo.
The Kennesaw State Owls.
Yeah. They'll even in this conference. I mean, they're going to get destroyed.
Well, I mean, last year they were Division II in FCS, and they were 3-6.
right?
In Division II, FCS 3-6. So they're coming into a weaker conference.
Which is good.
However,
They're going to get some money, which is
yes,
what they need.
Yes,
That's what they're doing.
This is how all of these teams. I mean, we're going to do another one here in a second. That's
Yep.
in this Jacksonville State that just moved in last year, and hell, they
They-
played great.
Hell yeah. Hell, they went to Jackson. We'll get there, but
Yeah.
yeah, they.
So
Yeah.
I mean, Kennesaw State. I mean,
They won 3 games last year, all were against Division II schools.
Right.
They're, I mean, if they win a game or two, it'll be a surprise. But they're,
I doubt if they win any. Oh,
yeah,
excuse me. I doubt if they win any conference games. They'll schedule them a couple
Right.
of week sisters in their non-conference, and that'll be fine.
Sure.
For their first season in. I mean, more power to them. I'm glad they're making the move. Get them some money.
I was gonna say it gets
Get
them
them
some
some
money, and who knows with the transfer portal and the way
That's
it
right.
is,
That's right.
get a season or two. Maybe I mean they're in a good state. I mean they're always low man on the totem pole down there in Georgia, but
Well, what I'm gonna see here, and this is something about all of the group of 5 conferences. They're nothing more. They've turned into these minor leagues for the Big 5, Big 4 now. But so
Right.
any kid that's coming out of high school that's not highly recruited, that's got any skill, if he hooks up with one of these group of 5 schools, I mean, they play a year, in Michigan or Arizona or, hell, Arizona State even, or Utah or Purdue or Brigham Young, any of these other teams that are in a Power 4 conference, sees one of these kids, they'll be up in a major conference.
Sure.
I mean, it's a great situation
how
for the kids. For the kids in the group of 5, the portal is a great deal because they're not going to get highly recruited. They get a chance to go play Division I football, and maybe get to move.
Yeah.
So
that's
it gives the Kennesaw State kids a little bit chance.
what they do.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Number 9, let's go with Louisiana Tech.
Louisiana Tech.
Louisiana Tech Bulldogs.
Well, bad year last year. Finished 3-9.
Yeah.
They do have. I mean, just doing.
Well, they've only got, from what I've done the research, they've only got 6 starters returning.
correct.
Um,
See, they got a good coach. I've always liked Sonny Cumbie.
he's a good coach,
But
their quarterback was hurt last year.
right.
He's coming back. What's Turner? Jack Turner, I think.
Yeah.
He's coming. He's got a chance to come back. I mean, they're not returning a lot of guys.
No.
They lost a couple to the portal that were better than average. So I mean,
Well, they got their running back is, I mean, questionably the best running back in the conference. That Marquise Crosby.
right?
So I mean they're not. I mean that's it. They finished 3-9 last year. They're not projected to do a whole lot this year. Just looking at some of the stuff they did last year, they averaged 24 points a game and gave up 34. So defense is a struggle, obviously, when you're in that conference and you're giving up that many points. So,
Yeah.
but Sonny Cumbie, unfortunately, even at Louisiana Tech, you don't produce something here before too long, he's going to be gone. So,
Well, Willie, though, I mean, if you're not producing and you're not winning, who's going to? I mean, I don't care who you still got to win.
Yep.
I mean, you still got to win.
He'll be gone. They'll move on. I mean, that's the glory part about those smaller schools. They can go get a 30-year-old coordinator somewhere and start and get a dream job for certain guys.
Or they can do what I forget who the Jackson that went out and got Deion Sanders.
Right.
And he went out there and coached 2 or 3 years, or
Right.
however long he was there. And he was seen, and then there's more kids who went there. Blah, blah, blah. Well, y'all know the rest of the story. But all right, moving on. Team number 8, moving our way up. We're looking at Middle Tennessee, the Blue Raiders.
Yeah,
Love the name. They got a new coach.
Another 4-18 from last year.
Well, I mean, they get rid of Stockstill and they bring in this guy Derek Mason, who was, I mean, he coached at Vanderbilt, and hell, they went 0-8. So,
they were horrible. But they got OSU's defensive coordinator. He's defensive coordinator.
Even better. They couldn't stop anybody there. So what the hell makes them think he can stop anybody down here? It's all about the athletes. We know this.
Yeah.
It's all about the athletes.
Well, they're returning almost their whole offensive line is new.
Right.
They got four spots to replace.
Yeah, but they got the returning quarterback.
Yeah.
Which a lot of teams don't these days.
Right.
If they're any good, they're either transferring or they're graduating. So
their best player, from what I've seen, what I read on, because I'm not going to act like a Middle Tennessee State follower, but Holden Willis, their tight end, he's probably the best tight end in the conference. And what he says, I don't know. They're not good.
Well,
Parker Hughes at linebacker.
Well, you're playing in a conference with Liberty, and we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. So you're going in not knowing, not thinking that you can win the thing, but still, again, you might win the thing.
Right,
so.
and they went 4-8.
Yeah.
But
but then again, their schedule last year was stacked with a lot of their non-conference games were blowout or beat them up pretty good.
Right.
But then you get into conference, and if you're just an average team in an average conference and you still lose, you got work to do.
But this kind of conference for Middle Tennessee is that they should be able, you would think, especially with Kennesaw State coming in, you should get you 3, 4, 5 wins.
Well, you would think, but if we, as we move on, I mean, there's Middle Tennessee. I got their schedule here. I mean, they got to play Mississippi. They got to play Duke.
That's a loss.
They got to play Memphis.
That's a loss.
They got to play Western Kentucky.
That's a loss.
And they got to play Liberty.
There's 5 losses.
There's 5. But if he can keep the kids there, this is great. An opportunity for them to see what it's like up here.
Right.
Can you come back next year and do it?
That's why I feel bad about some of these schools because of the portal. And we'll talk about that as it gets closer. Some of the downside of this portal, but yeah.
Sure. Sam Houston Bearcats.
Sam Houston.
Last year was their first year in D1 football.
And it showed.
And, of course, it did. But, hey, kudos. They showed. They worked hard. They played well. They didn't win. I mean, they were 3-9.
But they competed.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at their schedule, they won 3 of the last 4 games. They lost 6 by 10 points or less.
Right.
Only lost by 5 to Liberty.
Yep.
I mean, they got a good defense. Their defense is what, what was it? They gave up, they scored 25 a game. They only gave up 28. And not great, but, they got a wide receiver.
But it's one of those teams in a conference like this, they're close a lot.
Right.
They win one game, that's a little bit of confidence.
Right.
You win a second game, they lost a lot of close games.
Yeah.
If they turn a couple of those around, it becomes a pretty successful season.
Yeah.
I mean,
there was talk on a couple of their wide receiver, Noah Smith, is probably the best receiver in the conference, what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of the best linebackers, Isaiah Nixon, Kavion Gaither. They were, I mean, just from what I read on that, they were kind of surprised they didn't go portal.
But the reading I did, I mean, I'm not a Conference USA guy.
Exactly. I had to study.
Who is?
I had to study.
But the reading I did in the several different places I read, there were several people that were saying the same thing.
Right.
There's 2 or 3 guys on that team alone that they were stunned they didn't enter the portal.
Right.
figuring that they would get some offers. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they
Which they have, like I said, they got a strong defense, but
Yeah.
it only led them to 3-9 because they can't score.
well,
But again, first year with the big boys.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't think you got their schedule.
no, I
I
didn't
pull who
it.
they're playing, but yeah, it's going to be another struggle year.
They're
for
all
them,
going
but
to.
I like this. I like this though. Kennesaw State, Sam Houston, only 2 years. Kennesaw
Sure.
the first year.
Sure.
This is good.
The thing that in Jacksonville State leads to the second year.
Right.
But this conference, if they play each other, they're going to
Right.
be competitive games.
Right.
And that's good for the kids. Get the non-conference out of the way. Get in there and bust ass, and let's see what you can
Let's
do.
see. This is the only positive for the bowl system anymore.
Yeah.
Is teams like this who can get 6 wins,
Yeah.
eke out 6 or 7 wins,
Sure.
and go to one of these whatever the hell bowl names they are now.
Sure.
That's the only I mean, that's the only good thing about the bowl system. The
Sure.
way it's set up now, anyway. So.
And it's okay.
yeah,
It's okay.
yeah.
Let's move to UTEP. The UTEP Miners, who, guess what? They have a new coach. A lot of that going on
Yep.
in Conference USA this year.
Another 3-9 team from last year. Another team that
Yeah.
struggled.
Well, I mean,
But did you see where this guy came from?
Yeah.
Yeah. Division III, Texas. That's what I was talking about. This is
Mhm.
this is the conference and these teams that you can get these up and coming coaches. You don't know what you're gonna get.
that's right.
I mean, this guy was a D3 coach, East Texas Baptist.
Well, and they won
Right.
a lot, and he brought some of those kids
But he
with
brought-
him.
Yeah. Exactly.
So-
and he was an assistant at Southern Miss.
Well, you see,
So
I mean, I think this is a bad comparison, but Dion brought all those guys with him
right.
whenever he left,
Right.
wherever he was.
Right. Not the same level, but yeah.
Now they played well
Mm-hmm.
for a few games. The season, I think, was a bust for Colorado last year, but they played well for a little bit. They got that experience, and he was They were comfortable with him as their previous coach. So
Right.
it helped them. It helped them mature faster at the higher level.
Right.
That's what's going to happen here.
Especially for the kids that are
Yeah.
that level of
Yeah.
athlete that he's
Yeah,
got.
that's what's going to happen with these kids. If they're coming to the Division I level, they're bringing their coach. They already know they're comfortable with the coach. They know his system. So I think they'll perform well. I mean, I'm looking for my opinion. I'm looking for UTEP to do well this year. I think they're going to do well in this conference this year.
Yep.
Because of all those little tangibles that in a conference like this, where there's just one big guy, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But I
Right.
mean, I really think UTEP's got a shot to do well this year.
Right, and I know this year they go to. I was trying to pull up their schedule here, but they go. I know they go to Nebraska and I believe Colorado State.
Wow.
They open with Nebraska. So
Hello.
Southern Utah, then they got Liberty, then they got Colorado State, but then they dump into the conference.
Well, but then again, I mean,
Sam Houston, Western Kentucky, Florida International. So I mean, and they've got Tennessee. Their next to last game's against Tennessee. So they've got some money games in there.
well, they have to.
So
At this level, you've got to
Right.
play money games.
Yep.
That's what keeps you going.
But I'm like you. I think I can see them winning 5, maybe 6.
I think they're
Maybe.
gonna. I think they're gonna
They
be
got the
okay.
chance.
I really do. I think they're gonna have a good chance at it, and I just. I don't know. Again, the stuff that I've read on them tells me that there's a possibility that they can do some pretty good things.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at a couple of the preseason rank. They only had one player on any list that I saw that was a preseason all conference. That was Maurice Westmoreland, defensive. He's a defensive lineman.
Right.
People are really looking at him as a pro prospect. Really, all they had that was coming in. But again, it's UTEP. So
Well, it's UTEP, and but there again, they're in this conference.
mhm.
Anything can happen in this conference. I mean, it just can. It just can.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
So we got 5 more to go. We'll let me take a quick break. We'll be right back. And we're back. Take a little break. Just a little bit of a break. All right, so UTEP's in the bag. Let's see. Let's move on to New Mexico State.
All right.
The Aggies.
Now,
Now, here we go.
10-5 last year, finished second in the conference.
Mhm.
Took a beating in the bowl game.
Yeah,
But got some.
well, this year they're going to know what they're made of pretty quick. I mean, the first game is Southeast Missouri State, who's they're a Division II team, but they're ranked in the top 25 this year. So then their second game of the season is against Liberty. Okay. How good are you?
Yeah, and their quarterback transferred out. Quarterback went to Vanderbilt.
Right.
Right.
Another new head coach.
Another new coach.
Um,
They do have, from what I saw, I saw a couple of them. They had the offensive player of the year last year, but they. I don't know. You read. I read a lot on them, and people are looking at them to have a down year.
Well, I
They
mean,
lost some people.
you got
and-
Southeast Missouri State, which is a non-conference game. It's a Division II school, but it's a really good Division II school against a lackluster Division I school.
Right.
Okay. Then you got Liberty, the team who won the Group of Five last year, played in the whatever they call it now,
Fiesta Bowl.
whatever. Their third game is against Fresno State, who is
That's who beat them in the bowl game.
yeah. Again, another lower Division I team, but still better than most.
Right.
Then it's all conference stuff. So
They got a good. Their strong part is they got the offensive line coming back.
sure,
They got two really good pro prospect offensive linemen.
sure.
Defense is not good.
No,
Defense is people are looking to them to have a down year.
pausing. Yeah,
Yeah,
those of
I
you
mean-
watch us know the dogs. They started barking again.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, they had the best defense in the conference last year. They only gave up 18 points a game, but they lost a lot.
Yeah, they did.
And
They lost a lot.
so-
It's a new coach, new quarterback, new scheme, new everything.
So they finished 10-5 last year.
Mm-hmm. But they don't have anything left.
Most of what I'm seeing had them. I saw them projected from anywhere from 4th to 8th. I mean, people just got them up and down and all over the place.
Yeah.
So they're going to be. I think they're the big team in that conference, as far as I'm concerned. That's just kind of up in the air right now.
Yeah, I mean, well, like I say, the first few games of the season are going to tell what they are.
Right.
If
Oh,
they
yeah,
can,
oh,
if
yeah,
they
they're
can,
gonna quit.
if they can compete,
Yeah.
they can win some here.
Yeah, if they can
If they can compete the first two or
if
three
they
games,
can somehow
they can
yeah.
compete here.
if
So
if they can steal a win from one of those first 2,
Right.
3, 4 games, then
Right.
they got a chance to get a 7-8 win season.
well, let's move to Florida International.
Okay, 4-8 last year,
Yeah,
but they are returning 11 starters. They
yeah.
lost. They did lose Chris Mitchell over to Notre Dame. That was a big one they lost.
They still have the same head coach.
Offensive line
Shocking.
was horrendous last year.
Mhm.
Gave up, I think, 46 sacks last year.
Well, there's
Um,
Lexington Joseph. They said he got hurt last year. He's returning from injury.
Right.
He put up 536 yards, 5 touchdowns the year before. He was hurt all last year. Couldn't play. Their offensive line last year gave up, I don't know, 50 sacks or something.
Yeah, 46.
Got to be better.
Yep.
But everything I've read again says they should be in the top 4 or 5 of the division.
Right.
Again,
Strong.
just have to wait and see.
Strong linebacker core led by Reggie Peterson, another pro prospect guy, but they gave up 33 points last year per game.
Ooh.
So they're going to have to get better that way. I mean, they only scored 17 and gave up 33, so they got a lot of improvement to do. But I say returning that many starters,
Yeah.
I know I had it down, my fault. But they picked up a couple off the portal that are supposed to help them offensively.
Well,
So,
their non-conference schedule, they got Indiana. They can actually
that's
win
a
that game.
possibility.
They got Central Michigan, who's not bad.
Mm.
They're not good, but they're not bad. And Florida Atlantic are about the same caliber as Florida
Right.
International. Then they got Monmouth, and then the rest of it is in conference. So, I mean, they've got a chance to win 3 or 4 of their first games.
Right. Well, like I say, everything I saw was, like I say, that all the publications I was looking at has them anywhere from 4 to 6, 7. But they had them as high as 4.
Well,
So
they can, like I say, if they win 3 or 4 of these first games, they got 4 non-conference off the bat. If they win 3 or 4 of those, they're good to go.
they're going to be. Oh yeah, I think they got. I mean,
They're
just
good to go.
just from their schedule.
Yeah.
There's nothing overwhelmingly tough on their schedule. They could
Correct.
easily win 7, 8 games. Yeah, possibly.
And it's possible. Now let's move on to what I think was one of the shockers of last year is Jacksonville State. I mean, it was their first year in Division One.
Yep.
And I mean, my gosh,
Went 9-4 New
Yeah.
Orleans Bowl. They beat Louisiana in the bowl. They won their bowl game.
yeah. I mean,
You look at
it was
they're the ones that everybody's saying they're the ones that are going to get closest
They
closest to them.
they can, because number one, first of all, they got the confidence. I mean, they came in their first season in Division One and said, we deserve to be here, and we're going to show you why. And all they did was go out and show you why. They went out there and they won some football games.
They did lose their coordinator. That is OU's new coordinator.
They did lose him.
So,
but
they were awful good on defense.
But from what I'm reading, they're bringing in a coordinator who knows the system.
Yep.
Who's going to pick up right where it left off.
Yep.
They lost a couple of guys here and there, which is understandable. As good of a season as they had.
Right.
Portal wakes up, but I mean, their first 4 games non-con are going to be Coastal Carolina, winnable. Then they go to Louisville, which last year Louisville's 10-4, good team. I don't.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough game.
Don't know if they go to Louisville win.
No, not at. I think they're going to struggle at Louisville.
Well, then they go to Eastern Michigan, who is 500 club. Then they
They'll
got
beat
Southern Miss, who was just awful last year. So
I think they can beat Southern Miss.
they got a chance to win 3 out of 4 before they go into conference play. And their first conference game is Kennesaw State.
Yeah.
So I mean, these guys can come in there, win 3 or 4, maybe go 4-1 in their first 5. And hello, here we go.
Well, yeah. I mean, you go look, and they averaged 30 points a game last year and gave up 21. I mean, they got a linebacker who has got one of the best football names I've heard in life, J. Rock Swain. He's but I mean, people are talking about him as being a big time prospect.
Sure, but the problem
their defense is going to be tough.
Well, but here's the problem I got with that at these lower division schools, or the D1, whatever, Tier 2, whatever the hell you want to call them. You got one outstanding player. Mm-hmm. A good coach is going to run away from that son of a bitch the entire game.
Oh yeah.
So he may not get a tackle all season because this is their number one guy. Yeah. We're going to run over here. I mean, we'll see how that plays out.
That's why I'm curious on this new coordinator after Zach Alley left, because they got a couple guys that are on the preseason all conference with him.
Sure.
And Fred Perry at safety, and the defense should be their strong suit again. Sure. So we'll see if they can give Liberty any kind of competition.
Well, here's the deal: their first 4 games are the ones I mentioned. Then they have a bye week. They got 4 non-cons: Coastal Carolina, Louisville, Eastern Michigan, Southern Miss. Then they got a bye week. Then they come back and play Kennesaw State. Okay. Right. Then they got 2 more games before they even play Liberty.
Right.
So their schedule is set up pretty good.
Right.
Their schedule is set up pretty good. Yeah. Let's just see how they navigate it. I mean,
and their tough one is they're going to end on the. I mean, team we're getting ready to talk about Western Kentucky. They're going to end on Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky's good. Yeah. I mean, comparatively speaking to this conference anyway.
Well, last year, let's go ahead and come up. Yeah, we're going to do Western Kentucky. I mean, they are. I mean, the Hilltoppers. I love them.
No, it's good.
But they start out the season against Alabama, so.
Better get paid a lot of damn money.
Well, they're going to Tuscaloosa. They're going to play. They're going to get drove. But the thing about it is that here's the deal: you go to Alabama week 1 and you compete.
Yes.
You're fired up because then you got Eastern Kentucky. You'll kick them. You got Middle Tennessee State, which is conference game.
Win that.
Then you go play Toledo, which is non-con. I mean, then you got Boston College. I mean, you lose to Alabama, but you compete. Then you've got 4 games in a row you can win. Then you got UTEP, which is a little bit different. So I mean.
I like Western Kentucky.
I love.
They went 8-5. They went to a bowl. Granted, they won their bowl game. Granted, it was against Old Dominion, but they won their bowl game. Finished 8-5.
Right.
You go.
Well, the thing about their schedule, you get Alabama game 1. Here's what I like about their schedule, and why I think Western Kentucky is really worthy to look at, simply because of this. You start out with Alabama. You go there, you get spanked. You get slapped around, but you get some serious confidence in you because you hang. You hang with Alabama.
But everybody knows Alabama, too. They are notorious for playing down
and
their competition
new
early
on. New coach, new system, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. So they go and let's say they compete with Alabama. Then you've got Eastern Kentucky, Middle Tennessee, Toledo. Then you got 4 games coming up. 3 you should. Hell, they may win all 4 of them.
Very possible.
You don't have to play Liberty or Jacksonville State till the last 2 games of the year.
Oh, there you go.
So, if
and you go look at it, I mean,
they've got a great setup here. They got a great
Yep.
setup on the schedule.
Yep. No, and everything I read on their wide receiver core is like top
Yeah.
notch. They got 2 guys. I mean, you got Michael Matheson, Dalvin Smith, both on everybody's all conference. They got 3 or 4 guys on everybody's all conference defensive list. I think they're primed to at least give Liberty a shot, and they got a shot to. I mean, with their schedule,
I know.
9 games.
The schedule's set up for
9?
them because their schedule is set up in a very good way for them
Right.
to win, have such a confidence level going into Liberty the next to last game on November 23rd. And then if you can get over the Liberty, then you've got Jacksonville State waiting for you. But I like them for several reasons. I think they're the ones to look for in this conference to make a difference.
I do too. I think it was between, as far as giving it a run, it was them. It was Western Kentucky, Jacksonville State are the 2 teams. I think got a shot.
Right. Well, then it comes down to this. Then it comes down to
That comes down to Liberty.
You know, a team that just, in my opinion, came out of nowhere last year. Nobody's talking about Liberty in the first part of the season. I never heard their name. You got their quarterback, Kadon, he's coming back. Quentin Cooley's coming back. The schedule they've got, I mean, it's weak.
Schedule's weak even for a lower conference.
I mean,
it's a horrible schedule.
I mean, your non-conference games, you've got Campbell, you've got East Carolina, who was 2-10.
Mm-hmm.
Campbell was 5-6, and they're a D2 school. You got Appalachian State now. Appalachian State scares people all the time.
They're notorious.
They were 9-5 last year. That could be the one game that kind of tricks them up a little bit. And
Maybe.
they got Jacksonville State 3 or 4 games later. Then they got Western Kentucky next to last. We just talked about that one, but they ended with Sam Houston. But I mean,
they could easily go undefeated.
Oh, absolutely.
Easily go undefeated.
I mean, absolutely.
You know, they lost a big wide receiver. C.J. Daniels transferred to LSU, and that's what's going to start happening. Like you were talking about earlier with some of these Liberty kids.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing and looking good. Some of these they're going to start transferring out, so they're going to start replacing some people.
Oh yeah, that's what the group of 5 schools are for now. It's a minor league system for the big guys.
Yep.
And that's okay for the kids. That's great. Liberty's returning enough people to where they should win this conference.
Well, they should.
They should be the entry into the 12-game playoff. Yeah. Because there's we're going to do the MAC, and then the Sun Belt's coming up, and then the Mountain West. We're going to do all of those, but I don't see anybody in there right now.
Not in there. But that's where you're going to get the reality of some of these which I'm glad the playoff thing, everybody loves it. But this is like they went to the Fiesta Bowl last year.
Right.
It's got the living hell beat out of them by an underwhelming Oregon team.
Yeah, they didn't have hardly any of their guys.
I mean, no, they had couple of their big guys, but that was it.
Right. Now, what's going to happen?
They took that beating.
Yeah, well, these guys are going to. Whoever this group of 5 winner is,
mm-hmm.
their reward is to go in there and play the number 5 seeded team of it. And they're just
which means you end up playing Ohio State or
sure,
Georgia,
you'll get Ohio State
Alabama.
or Georgia or Michigan or hell or OU or Texas.
Yeah.
I mean,
but that's the fun part about it. You never know. But Liberty's, I mean, they average 38 points a game.
Well, but not only do you get the privilege of getting your ass whipped by one of the big guys, because what's going to happen is that 5th seed
mm-hmm.
is going to be the best team that lost a conference
that didn't win
championship
the
game.
Exactly.
So
I'm saying Ohio State,
Georgia, or
Alabama,
Texas or Georgia or OU or Alabama. That's who you're going to get.
Yeah.
And they're not going to sit their kids out this time because this is a playoff. This is not a bowl game. This is a playoff.
But you never know. I mean, depending on, like you said, you only get 4 of those. So if Liberty goes undefeated, there's a chance. Depending on who else gets in there, there's a chance they could sneak into a 10 or 11 seed.
No,
not much of a chance, but there's a chance.
I don't think it happens.
Yeah,
because that would mean that you would have a Penn State be lower than them, or a Florida State be lower than them.
Well, I'm looking. Yeah, maybe.
I don't.
I just think you get back into that same argument. It's a group of 5, but do you put a 12-0, 13-0 Liberty behind
A 2-loss Penn
and
State.
8-3 Penn State.
Yes, you do.
So
Because because
Right.
the voters love Penn State.
that's where you go.
They
with
think
it.
they think Penn
Yeah.
State is this great school, but they can't ever win a
Or they're
big
just
game.
like Texas A&M.
Yes,
people-
A&M is in the top 25 every year, and they get their ass whipped every year.
Until about week 10 or 11, then they're out because they keep fucking losing.
And they keep, and every analyst you see says what a great team A&M's going to be this year. They're going to be so good. And every year they disappoint. So I don't know. It's just that's why we're doing this, to give us a place to vent.
It's football time.
Bless all of y'all for letting us vent.
Yeah, we just talked 45 minutes on freaking Conference USA.
Darn right we
That's
did.
awesome.
So here's the deal. I got to pick Liberty to win the conference.
Yeah.
I mean,
I got Liberty 1 and Western Kentucky 2.
okay, that's my deal too. I got Western Kentucky number 2, with Jacksonville State maybe being in there, but I think Western Kentucky has a chance. The big game is going to be Liberty and Western Kentucky, the November 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them should be they both could be undefeated. Western Kentucky
Very
might
possible.
have one loss,
I thought,
but they should both be either undefeated or one loss, and they're going to be playing for the championship. But then again, they have a conference title game, don't they? Or do they?
pretty sure they do.
I don't know if they do or
I
not.
don't think
Anyway,
Conference USA followed. But I do. I mean, I think
Anyway.
my dark horse of it, I was looking at that, would be Florida International. I think they're the team on the outside
boy, that's
that's got a shot, just from what I've seen. And again, I'm not a big Conference
Yeah.
USA follower.
well.
so
I
I've
mean,
done a lot of
again,
reading
that's
and
me too.
research.
It's the reading
But-
and research that just show. I just
Right.
don't think they're ready. But then again,
I don't.
I
think
didn't
so
know
either.
Liberty
But-
existed last year, and they played in the friggin' Fiesta
Right.
Bowl. So
The transfer portal can do wonders for people.
I just know
Everybody's
maybe Notre
gotta go
Dame
somewhere.
can go to Conference USA.
No, they'd probably beg for it because they don't want to go play with their freaking competition.
Yeah, well.
God forbid they go to the Big Ten.
Anyway, it's NCAA football time. We're going to be getting closer and closer every week. We're going to be posting at least one, if not two, of these conferences so we can get it all caught up.
Yep.
Let you guys know what is
Leading
going
right up to
on in the NCAA brand new college football.
Get to talk playoffs this year.
That's right. Here we go.
Actual
So,
playoffs.
you got any comments? Please leave them down underneath yonder low. If you got any picks from these lovely teams out here that you think might be better than what we said, let us know.
Spread the word. Follow us on. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on YouTube. Just Facebook. I got Facebook pages up. I got everything up there.
Well,
Follow us. Get on it.
he's working hard. Come
I'm
on,
trying.
help him
I'm not
out.
very tech savvy, but I'm getting there.
I do the video thing, and I deleted one. What are you going to do?
Again, it was our best one. You'll never see it.
Oh, wow. Maybe it was just because myself. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
We're
subscribe,
good.
share, comment.
Comment.
Come back and see us. We're going to split this Conference USA to rest and the Independence, the Notre Dame
All
Conference.
three of them.
Well, like I said, we're going to be going every week on this, so stay tuned. Let's see where we're going to go, and we will talk to you soon. You got anything else?
That is it. We're good to go.
Appreciate you.
See you soon.